Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Jovity, and I am the Brilliance Unveiler and founder of the Unveil Way and creator and host of the Power Shift Summit, Women Igniting Change and Shaping the Future. I am so excited and thrilled to bring this event to women globally because I believe we are at a pivotal point in time when women are being called to speak out, stand up, show up, and shine up in these authentic, unedited conversations. They are meant to ignite your inner fire so that you will be emboldened, inspired, and motivated to take the reins of your destiny and soar as the powerhouse woman that you are. Our fabulous powerhouse speaker today is Michelle King. Michelle, welcome.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this amazing experience. And I think now more than ever, it is so important that we do come together. There's so much change and transformation happening and so much uncertainty. So it's a privilege and an honor to be here and to provide some additional resources.
Thank you, Michelle. So I'll share a little bit more about you. Michelle King is a wealth consciousness mentor and creator of Bold Wealth Leader, a one-to-one mentorship program. She's on a mission to support soul-led entrepreneurs to harness their intuitive creative power to transform their relationships with money so they can have the spiritual and financial resources to fulfill their calling and thrive. She's passionate about working with visionaries, change agents, and service-oriented leaders who want to share their soul's work with the world, but feel like money isn't there to support them. Michelle's proprietary wealth expansion method helps her clients to release lack, break through income thresholds, and manifest greater wealth, freedom, and fulfillment. Woo! All right, our topic today is money blocks are a soul strategy to wake you up to your spiritual power and expand wealth consciousness so you and your mission-driven business can thrive. Michelle, the first question I want to ask is what got you on this path and passion around wealth consciousness and supporting other women to expand their consciousness around money and wealth?
Sure. Yeah. It's funny because I never thought I would be in this position, helping others with their relationship with money and ultimately, providing a clear path to wealthy being. So it was my own personal experiences. And, as soul led entrepreneurs and heart centered leaders, we care about, the world we live in. And we want to make a difference and fulfill our calling. And ultimately, I think be the fullest expression of ourselves. And that's my driving force, basically. And, when we feel like we're stuck or maybe hit a business plateau, it's painful, right? So I got to experience that in 2016 after a spiritual awakening, divorce, and was navigating an identity shift and lots of loss.
Mm,
And I think in those moments of deep despair, it really does open us up. It opens up the heart, the mind, the body, the soul, right, in our experience of life to really understand safety, security, that we're guided, loved, and supported as we're navigating this thing we call life. And so, as I was going through this major life transition, I moved around a lot. And in that, I used up a lot of my financial resources. Right. And
yeah.
so it was the first time I really didn't have a financial safety net. And I wanted nothing more than to have, a booming business to, be able to be of service.
Yeah.
And money showed up for me in this experience to really help me see where my insecurities were and how important money is. I was so focused on service. Not that I
Yeah.
didn't want money or need money, right? It just wasn't a priority. It was just always there. But when it's gone, it's like
Yeah.
we realize how important it is.
You
So
know,
that
it's
set me
funny.
on.
I can so relate to that, Michelle, because I used to always be like, I care about impact. I care about impact. Mine and the woman that I work with, I care about the impact. I care about all. Yeah, money's, but you know what hit me is that without the resources, including money, the impact we make is not going to be as impactful.
Exactly, exactly. And that is a painful place to be in when you go to that extreme. The good news is you don't have to go to that extreme. And I talk about money as a spiritual teacher, and it really taught me a lot about the spirit of money and how we can resource money to share our passions and to really step into our spiritual power. And so again, for me in this process, it really brought out my intuitive gifts and helped
Mhm.
me uncover like portals of energy centers in our bodies that carry with it information about our ancestors, generational trauma, personal traumas that we can release once we go into that, through expanded levels of consciousness. So,
Yeah, you're saying a lot here, and I want to make sure. So, two things I want to be clear on. So, while Michelle's business focuses on entrepreneurs, this conversation is for any woman who feels like she has a money block. If she's an executive, in a career, money blocks are real no matter what part of our lives, whether we're entrepreneurs or working in a role with a company or organization. So, this applies to everyone. And two, you know, you talk about your journey in 2016 and having that whole life experience, that traumatic life experience, and losing your identity and having to find again. And I understand because I've been through a couple in my, and maybe more than a couple in my life. And I guess I'm curious about what things, what teachings, what learning, what understanding helped you to get to that place where you start to understand money in a different way. And where you used the word earlier about it being a resource, something like that. You said I want you to just break that down a little bit for those who this is a whole new conversation they haven't heard before.
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for asking that and acknowledging that, it's not about how much money you make. It's your relationship with money. And it's, money, when we talk about it, it kind of carries the same weight and baggage sometimes as like when we talk about sex or we talk about religion or we talk about politics, right?
Mm,
So oftentimes it's the last place we look when we go into our leadership energy and that kind of business potential to be able to fully step into and answer your calling. And so that was true for me. That was a big, big lesson that money got to teach me. And, I work with the power of consciousness. So when I'm speaking of power, I'm talking about integrating spirit and business or spirit and matter. So money is energetic in nature, right? And so that's why it helps to open up into these energy centers and work with your intuition and creative intelligence to release these outgrown identities that no longer serve you, that maybe you've been carrying unconsciously. And so much of that, at least through my experience and in working with clients, is about, I call them the three pillars of integrating worthy, whole, and wealthy being. And so when we integrate that through expanded levels of consciousness and your relationship with money, business, or your calling, all of those are related. It allows us to grow, evolve in understanding, compassion, and love, and make space for spirit to move, make space to be in our power and fully, step into our leadership energy and actually thrive.
I love that you're using the terms leadership, energy, and power, of course, because we know those are themes of my summit. So thank you for just anchoring it around that, because at the end of the day, um, power, leadership, impact, all these things require resources, and money is a resource. And you use the word money is energetic. And I think a lot of people probably don't understand what that means. So again, I'm going to ask you just break that down a little bit
Sure.
more, like money being energetic.
Yeah, it's kind of that unseen, like if you think about how we use money and we exchange money in today's world, so much of that is like done through the internet or with a credit card, or how much is that actually tangible, right? So money, that's why I call it kind of the spirit of money. And this is why your relationship with it is what helps to make that absolute transformation and shift into wealthy being, right? From lack and scarcity in the survival mode, this insecure state that is always chasing money, going after money, versus knowing that you're fully resourced and have the creative intelligence to partner with your reality to co-create inspired outcomes.
Yeah.
And so, this is why I say when I'm working with money, it's through expanded levels of consciousness. So money, just like people in our lives, just like our business in our lives, pets, and any tangible thing or relationship that we have in this realm, in this world, is an aspect of consciousness, right? So it's our relationship with it that matters.
Mm. So you mentioned oh, go ahead.
I hope that clarified, answered your question.
Yeah, I'm just making sure everybody's tracking, because I mean, I know these are really important topics, and I know, here's the thing, I actually know someone who, she has a couple people actually with I know their money blocks. Like I see how they move in the world. I see how they respond to things where money is involved, and it's like they're not aware. They're not, I can see it, and I try to say things to make them open up, but I realize it's hard for them to even understand what I'm saying when I say you might have a, you way the way you're responding, or the way you're chasing, or every decision you make, it's the money that comes first. Like when you're so attached to the money of money, right? Um, but you don't know it until you know it.
Yeah, there's a natural evolution with that. And that's why I say, like for me and my life experiences, it wasn't just one thing, it was a culmination of life experiences that helped me move into my relationship with money. And often, like I said, it's kind of it hits a chord, right? Like it's in the root of our human experience, which is why it's often the last place that a lot of leaders look when it comes to how they show up in business and stuff, because they see it as an effect of their value, an effect of their service. And so this is why oftentimes when I'm meeting with clients, it is after a lot of personal development, inner work in regards to worthiness, as well as, definitely being on the spiritual journey, but having done like marketing, doing their messaging, and still like nothing is budging, right? They're hit a plateau in their business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's often when money does show up. And people aren't aware because they think of it as an effect, when really it's part of the cause, because it's your relationship. You're at the center of that. And really money is helping to amplify and say, hey, you've got more creative power to use and leverage here. It's not being used yet. Let's bring it out of the dark. Or maybe you're afraid of your own power, or you're afraid that if you are super successful and thriving, that you might lose it. Like all of these
Yeah.
things will come to the surface. And it's through this integrative process that you get to meet, merge, and move with it. And that's what I call the wealth expansion method.
I love how the and metaphor with cause and effect, and how people see it as an effect rather than a cause. That was brilliant, Michelle. Very, very clear. So why do you think so many, especially because as being one myself, empathetic, heart-centered leaders, and I think I know the answer to this one, hit income blocks, challenges, and plateaus, whether it's in their role and in their role, their job role or career, or in their business?
Yeah, so again, money is energetic in nature, and often it will bring to the surface what's not working. It will show us where there are blocks, where is there inner conflict within ourselves. So it's not a bad thing. I just want to say there's nothing wrong with you if you are experiencing this. And I so often empathic, heart-centered leaders are like, well, what am I doing? What's wrong with me? What do I need to do differently? And so much of it is just the opposite. It's about understanding who you really are as a spiritual being having a human experience, and being able to open up and receive and partner with this higher intelligence. We're so used to these, high achieving driven women want to do it all because,
Yeah.
they're good at what they do. And
Yeah.
it's an opportunity to kind of come into this more feminine energy, integrate the masculine energy, and be willing to receive. And when there is a block, often it's because it's not safe to receive. And this was my experience too. And I see this very often, in working with clients. And this is why working energetically helps us to move beyond story, like what we might do in counseling and so forth. All of that stuff is good. Working with the inner child and so forth is really good and important. Those are all part of, the evolutionary process. But when you start to meet it from an energetic standpoint, you can make these shifts really quickly. And it's a release, which helps you make transformation and ultimately make space to manifest. So when there's a block, say, oh, thank you for showing up for me. What is this revealing to me? What wants to open up in me? And as I said, I work with the body's energy centers. So often it's in the lower parts of the body. That's the first chakra energy center, as well as the heart, like opening yourself up. And after loss and trauma and so forth, we tend to shut that down, and we shut down our spiritual gifts with that too. So that's why I say it's not just about money, it's
Yeah.
about opening up to that spiritual power.
I love that. And I agree with you that the money is just one of the things that are impacted by when we are dealing with narratives, conditioning that do not serve us, that we need to let go of, we need to shed. It's a whole inner transformational work that needs to happen for us to get to the level of awareness, consciousness, where we understand that, oh my God, I have been the block to me receiving the resources, the money, the wealth that I have been desiring. I have been the block, the way I think about my life, the way I think about myself, right? So you're just hitting on such really great points, Michelle. And one big one that I had to learn, I feel like not that long ago. I mean, it's still something I'm learning, and it's not just with money, it's with things, anything good, about receiving, being open to receiving. As you said, I was very much the high achieving, I can do it, I can figure it out, whatever person. And to be able to sit back and take and accept and receive from others, whatever it is, compliments or help or support or whatever. I had a hard time with that, which is I think about it now, I think, Natalie, that's so crazy, but that was a version of me that just didn't understand there was a different way to be in the world, to receive.
Beautiful. I love that you said a different way to be, because everything starts with who we're being, right? And so if we're stuck in lack consciousness or the illusion of separation, feeling like we're alone in this journey, then it's really just an invitation to expand. And that's where we, move into wealthy being and utilizing our spiritual allies, ancestors, higher mind intelligence, right, to support us in navigating this life, while also leveraging our true experience and our reality, not disassociating with the reality of it, but it's the merging of it. It's like, how do I bring my spirit into the world? That is the fullest expression of being in your power and living in your truth.
Mm. How do I bring my spirit into the world? Another gem there, Michelle. So, are the specific inner and outer shifts that happen when we are in this process of change and transformation and integration that allow for greater levels of spiritual and financial abundance?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I developed the wealth expansion method, which is about integrating mind, body, and soul in relationship to money. And I work with these three pillars: worthy, whole, and wealthy. And through my own personal experience and working with clients, discovered that there are 6 cycles to help clients make these shifts internally that ultimately allow these great shifts externally. Some of those shifts internally is about healing unresolved trauma, right? And then being able to work with your higher intelligence to merge more with the truth of who you are. That has to do with wholeness and wealthy being. And what really starts to happen is trust. You build trust with this energetic intelligence, the spiritual nature that you are. And when you are energetically sound, coherent, in harmony within yourself, it influences your leadership abilities. It influences synergy and harmony and the opportunities, the people and the circumstances that then shift in your life to support you, like in carrying out your mission. So, and that's where we open to greater flow, aligned contribution. I'll just share an example. One client that comes to mind right now is when she first came, we started working together. She was applying for different positions, and she was definitely qualified, but she kept getting rejected. And she's like, I don't know what else to do about this, right? I'm qualified. I'm really passionate about this. This is my thing. And I worked with her to map out her signature wealth code and use her intuition to guide her. And in that moment, she realized that, okay, it's time for me to start my own foundation, which she did. And
Wow.
so we can leverage our experience of the 3D, even if it's rejection, to say, well, what wants to come through here?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was her soul calling, right? To start that foundation and step into her leadership energy. And now, she's working with money to get funding for her mission and so forth. So it evolves and stuff, but that's kind of like a concrete experience of the inner shifts that we can make when we feel safe and secure and loved and guided, how the world will shift around you to meet you, and to support you with that and validate that.
Well, I want to bring this around the power shift, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
The
That's why this
power
was in
shift that
alignment for me. I was like, this is so perfect. Yeah.
yeah, literally the powers shift when
Consciousness. Yeah.
when we make those aligned choices and operate from a different posture, one of my favorite words. And what is amazing, and this, Michelle, is until you're there in that new level of consciousness, awareness, awakening, you have no idea what's possible.
Exactly. Yes. It's like a bridge. And I talk about, living in lack and scarcity. And that intuition is the bridge that's going to help you to get to the other side. And that's part of the wealth expansion method. We use intuition as the ultimate guide to support you in taking those next steps. You're not going to be able to see everything, and that's okay. This is part of the process, right? And what's happening is you start to develop your intuitive muscles, your metaphysical skills to innovate, to inspire, to lead. And just imagine with that experience, real world experience, it gets integrated in you. So it becomes an embodied expression that moves through you. And so not only are you serving yourself, but you're serving the collective in, your adventure, basically. And
Yeah.
can I just say, I love that you use the word posture, because it is about alignment. And I often talk about, when we're thinking of lack and scarcity, as the human mind, the human experience is somewhat limited. It's polarized in nature, so it's conflicting, and we often swing. Do I have enough? Do I not have enough? What else do I need to do to create, to get money, to get clients, to serve, to step more into my leadership, right? And then there's like the swing of defeat. Oh, maybe it wasn't enough, or oh, I could have done this, right? That critic kind
Yeah.
of comes in. And as we start to grow and expand and cross that bridge in partnership with our spiritual alliance and this higher consciousness, we realize there's so much more that we can resource, and money is that, an expression of that as well.
Yeah. So you don't know this, but intuition keeps coming up in my conversations because I love how you put it, though, that use it as a bridge, because it's one of my gifts that I am really feeling more fully embodied in. And it's so interesting because I think I'm in a season of awakening to how powerful powerful my intuitive gifts personally are, but I have been passionate about this for a few years and helping my clients and the women I see who have them to like, don't you see what you have here? This power. In my book, It's Your Time to Shine, Girl, I have a section where I talk about intuition is one of our leadership superpowers. And it's, I don't even know what gave me that download. I was writing that end of 2021, 2022, but I was so like, and so this is now 2 years later, 2+ years later, I am even more like this. If women, people, but women especially, only knew the power inherent in their intuitive gifts, Michelle.
Absolutely. I think that's what the world is actually waking up to, you know? It's like when the world gets so crazy and chaotic and you're like, is this real, an illusion, or what is going on? You can't help but go within. And ultimately that is the key to unlocking your intuitive and, income potential, right? Is learning how to move into that inner wisdom and utilize this creative intelligence that's here to support us all. So, yay! I'm so happy to hear that there's like this wave of people acknowledging their gifts and really, you know, a lot of what I do with clients too is being able to acknowledge their gifts and accept them,
Yeah.
claim them as well, and that's going to support them in co-creating, spiritual and financial sovereignty.
Ooh, girl, you're using all the words sovereignty. That's one of my other favorite words. Oh, really, really favorite word, sovereignty. I mean, oh my God, if whew, okay, let me not get distracted. So you are so passionate about, what you do and it's like with all of this intuition, consciousness, leveling up, understanding, expanding, coming into new dimensions of awareness, what advice, encouragement, wisdom do you have for those on this, maybe they don't even realize it yet, Michelle, the intuitive transformational path in their own lives, who have an undeniable calling, but feel like they don't have the resources, the money to support them and their big vision?
Hmm. Ooh, yeah, I feel like there's so much I could say here. Like honestly, I'm feeling emotional. I just feel like if only you knew how powerful you are and the power of integrating a conscious relationship with yourself, soul, and source through the language of your intuition. You know, there's nothing that you can't navigate. And to know that any challenges that you're facing, you're not alone, and that you can actively ask for guidance and just be open and willing to receive that. Whether that's in a song you hear, or a conversation that you hear, or maybe a mailer that you get. All these things I've certainly experienced, but just to know that you can, ask for guidance and get it. The same with money. It is here to support you, and it holds no judgment towards you. So, really, it's your relationship with money that holds the power for you to create these abundant shifts within yourself and experience of life. And, if you're feeling called or in alignment with what we've shared, I'd absolutely be happy to have a conversation with you, and see if working together is in alignment. Because I think we need more spiritually and financially resourced leaders, carrying out their mission. And that's what's going to make the world thrive.
Yeah, that's the paradigm shift that I think the world is waiting for us. And when I say us, rising up and coming out and speaking out, being in our truth, standing in our power, living and breathing in our mission vision, because whoa, there's so much to tap into. Um, it's funny, you talked about the little signs. Like I remember, I just want to give this example as a tangible one. I'm coming out of the grocery store, when I'm in the grocery shopping, I am totally like in do mode. I'm like, okay, got to get this, got to get that with my list, right? Came out of the grocery store and this big truck, and I only saw that truck one time, and I go to grocery all the time. I only saw that particular truck one time, and it had on the back these words, destined for greatness. And I was kind of, I was like, how, it was like like a truck from giving McDonald's, whatever goods. And I was like, that was for me. I was like, that, I knew that was a word for me. And I don't know if those words actually existed in reality, but, and then the guy who was doing the truck, he started talking to me, and I'm like, what is happening here? This is a few years ago, but I remember it so profoundly, Michelle, because it was one of those, I call them intuitive hits, where the time I knew that this is not a coincidence, Natalie. You could tell yourself that, you could fake and tell yourself, but do you know what you know what you know?
Yes. Destined for greatness. I think everybody needs to hear that who's listening and involved in this. This is another one of those really powerful messages, I think, coming through. So, and it was an experience kind of like that really got me on the intuitive path. It was one of those, oh my goodness, experiences that I was like, how powerful this is. And interestingly, it had to do with the decision about working with a mentor. And I didn't have the money at the time. And I so wanted to work with her. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I was like, I'm going to give this up. And this is why I say asking, commanding for an undeniable sign or message works. And so that's what I did. I said, give me an undeniable, clear sign if working with her is in alignment for me. And I call this the bench because right after I did that, I went for this walk around the lake and I had
Mm.
all these like intuitive nudges and guidances. And it led me to this area where there were 3 benches. The first one and the last one, the farthest one away, were taken. So I was guided to sit on this metal bench, and on that bench was a nameplate with her name. And so in that moment, I knew I could confidently and clearly say yes to this agreement. And I knew the money would come. I knew I would be supported. I just knew with all my heart, and I would not be here today had I not had that metaphysical training and, one-on-one partnership. So to be able to do this and then ultimately discover my calling in the process. So
Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. I love that confirmation, and I could so relate when it's like, okay, I was second guessing this thing, but now I cannot deny God is telling me to move forward, even though it's like it makes no sense to my rational brain. I have a very rational, very strategic brain that gets in the way. I realize, and I'm seeing like, okay, rational brain, calm down, because the intuition, the nudges are so much more. And I have to learn to like, I have learned, I'm learning to like, my rational brain doesn't get it, but it's okay because it can't, because it has a certain limit to it. Whereas when my intuition, when God is telling me something, that is limitless, right?
sees the unseen, knows the unknown. And yeah, imagine if we could make decisions like that every day with that clear and confidence, right? Like in that embodied knowing, that full embodied yes.
Mm.
In business and in leadership, who you choose to work with, how you choose to go about your day. So many more people would be in the energy of wealthy being, and I think that's pretty powerful.
So Michelle, I'm going to ask you a very strange question, but you're going to just bear with me. What made you have that image of that Bengal tiger behind you as your Zoom background?
Oh my goodness, the tiger. Oh, well, this is part of my metaphysical practice, right? And I actually had a dream some time ago, and this tiger wanted to make love to me. It was an orange tiger at the time, I know. But ultimately, and I was so scared of this tiger in the dream, collapsed into the fetal position and was terrified. I was so scared. And I ended up, going into meditations, and I wasn't trying to see the tiger, but the tiger would come through and revealed itself to me. And so I started kind of communicating, and it became an ally for me in business. And ultimately, it was about stepping into my power, about using my creative intelligence and trusting myself and stepping into leadership energy, and making love with this calling that I had. And then, after some years, actually, I guess 3 years ago, I surrendered to my intuition again and moved to a new state went global in business and purchased my own home and stuff. And the tiger shifted to this black and white tiger with blue eyes in my vision. And as I was decorating for my place, I just so happened to come across the painting, and it
Wow.
was like, "Oh, it's going in my office." So yeah,
Wow.
been a spiritual advisor ever since.
The blue eyes too. I'm like, I literally keep going to like the blue eyes. So they draw me in, like,
Yeah,
what a
yeah, the soul.
story.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I hope that inspires somebody, like when they're getting dreams and visions and they're like, this makes no sense. There's
And
always
it's
something
really
to,
powerful to bring it into the tangible real world, right? Because it's like a portal to all that experience. And this is what I mean by, using your resources. When I first started with money, it showed up as a witch, an evil witch. And so through the transformational process, then became light. And so this is how we work with alchemy and expand into wealth consciousness through those experiences. So just a little glimpse of what goes on.
yeah, she's got a lot here, y'all. So with that said, tell us about the free gift you're offering to our listeners, viewers.
For sure. I know it can be kind of confusing, when you hit income blocks or plateaus in business. So I'm offering this 7 signs you are on the threshold of expanding in wealth consciousness to give you clarity and validation for where you might be in your spiritual journey. And to know that, it's to be celebrated. And I'm excited for you and what's next to come.
There's
And then
another gift.
Oh, that's right. I was like, oh yeah, there's another gift. That's right. Specific for this event. I'm doing somewhat like a raffle, so you can apply to have a wealth alignment and clarity call with me. So that's also in the 7 signs guide, or there's an extra link there if you want to go directly to it. So go ahead and apply. You never know.
Yeah,
You might
y'all.
win.
Nothing to lose here, just more to gain, obviously. Any lasting words for our listeners before we say goodbye, Michelle?
Oh, this has been such a pleasure and a joy. Thank you so much for inviting me. I wish you all well wherever you are in the world, and stay in touch. If this kind of work resonates with you, don't be shy. I think right now the world could use more partnerships and networks, and feel free to ask any questions or reach out about Bold Wealth Leader if you are interested in working together. That's my one-on-one mentorship program. So thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. This was amazing. I really appreciate everything you shared. Everyone listening, thank you for being here and look forward to seeing you at the next session. Bye for now.